here, but
Mhm.
we can go ahead and get started, answer a couple of the questions that we did get on Discord, and then just take it from there. So I'll just introduce myself real quick. I'm Neil, one of the founding team members at Spaghetti Detective, now Obico. My background's in mechanical engineering, and been doing a lot of 3D printing since about 2015. And I've been working with Kenneth for about a year now on the more the growth and marketing side of things.
Awesome. My name's Kenneth. I founded the Spaghetti Detective as a side project back in 2019, maybe 2018. Obviously, have been having a lot of fun with it, and now, obviously, the Spaghetti Detective is known as Obico.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kenneth. So I know we'll just kind of keep things rolling a little bit here. That way, if anyone does join, they can pop in and ask any questions. But I know one of the first questions that someone had asked in the Discord chat already, and I'm sure a lot of others have it as well, was just kind of why the name change in general. So I guess if we want, we can just go ahead and jump into that one.
Okay, yeah. So, Neil, do you want me to take a stab at it?
Yeah, if you want to start, go ahead, please.
Yeah, totally. So, actually, like I said, I invented the name, the Spaghetti Detective. When I did that, I don't know if it was a bad idea or like was a good idea, but actually, afterwards, I did hear from the community, like a significant amount of the community member actually liked that name. They thought that name is very relevant, but I guess the problem that we slowly start to realize was that the name was like so descriptive that it started to become like almost like prescriptive. So it kind of like almost invite users to think that we do nothing but detecting spaghetti. But as a lot of you probably have already known it. Like we have outgrown this name, for quite some time now. Like at some points we take a step back and we look at what we are doing. We're actually building a legitimate like connected printer or smart printer, however you call it, right? It's a almost like a complete smart printing solution. But we try to tell the users like, hey, you know what? This is actually a pretty complete solution. Like, look at all these cool things we have built, and then it's hard, right? People look at the name, they assume we just do the spaghetti, detecting spaghetti. So at some point, we're like, you know what? It's probably it's a painful process, but like we probably should just bite the bullets. The Spaghetti Detective is my baby. It's fair to say that, but we feel like it's probably a right thing to just bite the bullets and change the name so that at least we remove the concept we prescribe to the user that hey, we do nothing but detecting spaghetti. Is it
Right.
fair to say that? Yeah, Neil, please chime in.
Yeah, and I think when we started doing some of the user interviews a couple of months ago, actually interested in learning other things about different features that we were hoping to develop. One thing that we kept hearing over and over was a lot of our users had kind of found us because of the failure detection, and that's what they initially heard about us. And when they signed up, they didn't even necessarily realize we had some of these other remote access and webcam streaming features. And they realized that those are also a lot of the features that they've come to use on a daily basis. So it almost made sense just the more and more we talk to users that the Spaghetti Detective name maybe was a bit more constricting and not allowing us to I guess express kind of all the features that we have.
Yeah, like do you remember like when we were like talking to some of the community members, we're like, hey, you know what? There's there's something called OctoPrint tunneling. Someone was like, what is that? I've never seen it before. But like once we pointed it to them, like this is how you can use it, this is where to find it, they're like, oh, I actually needs that. Like I've been looking for a solution like this, but never knew that it already exists in the Spaghetti Detective app.
Right, and I think if you go even way back, Kenneth, I guess when you had first started the Spaghetti Detective, it was just the website, web app, and really you maybe never even planned to make a mobile app for it. But once you did, it became pretty obvious that this was something that a lot of the users were using, just for daily remote monitoring and being able to control the printer and for everything else like that. So it seems like also just from day one, maybe things evolved and started to snowball a bit bigger than you maybe initially expected.
Yeah, totally, was totally the case. Yeah, it's such a wild ride. Like I started as something as just a side project, and then before I know it, it's like, ooh, I built a monster.
Yeah, and so I think that's really all of those reasons are kind of how we really arrived at that conclusion, and it did take a lot of back and forth between us and talking to some more users as well along the way, but while we knew there might be some pushback, and it's hard for us to do as well, it seemed like the best time and the best move right now.
Cool. So do we have
Great. It does look like we've got one guest in here, so thanks for joining and watching our practice that we're stumbling through. But definitely chime in if you have any questions. We'd love to answer them.
Yeah, I guess the we didn't leave a lot of notice to our community member either. Just like a few hours before this AMA, we're like, oh, let's do this, and let's throw the link in the Discord. We will repeat that if you guys enjoy this.
Yeah, definitely. We thought it just might be useful to answer some of the questions that are easier to answer by talking in person, so to speak, than maybe in an email or something like that.
Cool. So do we move on to other questions that people posted on?
Yeah, if you want to just jump to the next question that we had from Discord while we're there, and then maybe some of the members that are joining will have some other questions after that.
Okay, so the second question is, I installed a fresh copy of Ubuntu on a spare machine and went through the installation steps. Docker and Docker Compose displayed the message that it was working, and the project seems to clone fine, and I have switched into the TSD directory. The issue was that the sudo docker compose up-d. Is there a new installation page for Obico? So looks like this user's running into some issues with starting up the Docker Compose cluster for the Obico server. We do have a new installation page for Obico, but the steps are actually the same as the old page. We just fleshed out with a lot more details, and basically we try to anticipate the problems that people may run into, and then try to correct answer right there. So the page will be obico.io/docs/server-guides, the plural guides, / go to that page, and you should be able to get the up-to-date installation steps for Obico server.
Great, and we can probably drop that in the Discord chat later as well. It's one thing I know about the YouTube chat is they don't let you put links in there, which would be something that's useful sometimes, but I can also see why they don't allow it because of the spam from some of the live stream that have thousands of people in them. Great. Well, I think those were the two main questions that we kind of had already pre-asked from the Discord chat, but there were a couple other questions that we figure some of the users might have anticipated or ones that we've also just been getting over and over in the email since the rebranding. So I'll go maybe just pick a couple of those questions, and we can just start answering some of those.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Great. So the first one is just in general, a lot of the users seem to be pretty excited about the Obico for Klipper, and some of the users that
I'm excited
over,
about that too.
Me too. Some of them started switching over, noticed they had just the basic streaming, even though they were maybe on the Obico Cloud Pro plan. So they were just asking if there's going to be premium streaming soon.
So, it's really good timing for this question. I actually literally just came up with a working prototype like last night. So basically, long story short, like the premium streaming has not wasn't available on the Obico for Klipper until like really just last night. It is working, but I haven't pushed that out yet. And also there are a lot of caveats around like the premium streaming for the Klipper platform, primarily because unlike OctoPrint, where you got one OctoPrint, like the Klipper ecosystem, it's a lot more there are a lot more tools you can choose from. Basically, last night when I made it work, I found out it worked on Mainsail, but if you installed your Klipper from a FluidPy image, unfortunately that image is missing some kind of critical libraries that's required by the premium streaming to work. So I'm still trying to figure out the solution, but what I'm going to do is probably just push whatever I have, knowing that the FluidPy users will just have to wait for a little longer to, for that to be available. So a short answer, it was not available, it has not been available to our end users yet. But please expect updates in the next few days. And then if you are on the lucky platforms, you will see the premium streaming pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll I think be pretty exciting. Especially one thing I found for me when I first installed Klipper on my Ender 3 V2, the first thing I learned when I installed it was, okay, I don't have a screen anymore. And so I'm doing most of the control from my computer. And so I actually realized like the Obico app is a great way, even though my printer is just right behind me back there. It's this great just user interface for me to control the printer on. And so it'll be nice to be able to do those controls and get that crisp streaming on there too.
Yeah, I know. When you have a choice to use an smartphone app to control your printer, who would try to do this little knob thing on the tiny little LCD screen?
Right. Great. Let's see what other questions we had that were pretty popular. Well, I guess one that would be maybe just a good one to answer is in terms of we've definitely gotten some questions about the rebranding in general. Is it just as much as changing the names and the colors, and that's all that's going to be done, or is there more kind of to it in general? So if we want to answer that one, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So Neil, feel free to chime in here as well. Definitely not just a rename. We how many things we have released along along the way this time. So the first, several things, right? The first is the Obico for Klipper was really an early alpha, was pretty difficult to use. Now, not only it's actually in beta, but plenty of users already told us that it's just so much easier to set up. It just worked. I feel like it's probably polished enough for us to call it a 1.0 soon. What else? Oh, we have a public API now, right? This is something that users have been asking for, I don't know, almost since ever. The first day we started, and then finally we have that, and we not only have the APIs available, but also we have rewritten a good chunk of the documentations to just to make it a lot easier for all the makers to integrate with Obico server. And Obico server has now we have our own plugin. I'm not talking about OctoPrint plugin. I'm talking about now you can write something to plug into the Obico server. And remember in our Discord server, the user was mentioning one that user wanted to do something to push the notification to a platform. I don't exactly recall what that platform was.
Was that the one that was the smart toaster?
Oh, probably. Yeah, basically it was now you can really literally just write your own Obico plugin so that you can get the notification or other things however you want. That's another thing that we released this time. What else? I remember we did a bunch of things. Neil, do you remember?
Well, yeah, and I think one thing is when we even going back to before we decided that to come up with the rebranding process, we started to work on a lot more projects that were already beyond the failure detection, and then also going beyond just the even some of the basic remote access that we've been talking about. And the more of these features and projects that we had started in that seemed closer to this kind of smart 3D printing concept, that became more evident that we wanted to go in a direction that allowed us to expand with some of these different projects. So I think you described a lot of them, really well. And it's of course not possible for us to cram every single thing that we wanted to do into this one, rebranding release. But it's more, I think, a way for us to point in the direction that we want to go. We tried to pack as much excitement into this rebranding as we could, and really put some of the a lot more time that we weren't able to before into the open source documentation and a lot of those other aspects, hoping to get more of you guys to come and start contributing and building your own projects from it. But I think it's really, everything we're able to put in a package doesn't necessarily fully describe where we're headed, but we're hoping the rebranding will set us in a path that we can expand definitely the open source side of things and just the general community further.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, also the mobile app, right? We're actively working on open sourcing the mobile app. As some of you probably have already been aware, it's tricky to do, but we say, hey, Obico is, we have the commitment to the open source from day one. So even if it's hard, we're gonna keep working on it, and please expect the mobile app to be open source pretty soon.
That's actually perfect segue. I was gonna mention that had been another question. Maybe you can just go into a little bit more the details about what open sourcing the mobile app might look like and how the notifications might work. Because I think we definitely have a big range of users in terms of the technical capabilities, and I think plenty of them might be very interested in diving in and doing a lot of fun things with that open source mobile app, and some might not be as interested in it. So maybe you can just kind of highlight some of the differences a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So I guess the open sourcing mobile app is important especially in terms of the push notification. So right now, the user, the mobile app users can already connect the mobile app to their own self-hosted Obico servers without the access to the source code. They can just go into the app, change the server address, and they're done. However, the push notification, like when they're using their own self-hosted server, they won't receive push notification. And the reason for that is actually connected to why open sourcing the mobile app is hard. The reason for that is that in order to send push notification, you need your own key. So basically, that's Apple and Google's way to say like, hey, it's not like everyone can send everyone else a push notification, right? You really need to register with them. Say, hey, this is my developer's account. For Apple, you have to hand them $100 a year. To say, hey, then they're gonna give you a key, and then you can use that key to send a push notification to other users, and they use that to kind of control spam, I guess. But then the problem is the key is in the app, the source code. So we need to figure out a very delicate way to kind of like pull these keys out of the source code and then kind of like inject them back in right before we submit the new version for the App Store to release, to review and release. So that's a very, very tricky process. I don't think it's been done, a lot before. So we're basically in the woods of figuring that out. But once we have figured that out, you can expect that you can take the source code and then you can apply for like developer account if you don't have one with Apple or Google, and then you can then rebuild the app by injecting your own key into the source code, and then you can build that into the binary APK, what have you, and then silo that into your phone, and then boom, you can get the push notification sent from your own hosted server.
Yeah, I think, and that'll be awesome for some users. There's obviously some complexities, and many of our users won't be interested in messing around with that. But I know some of our users have print farms that they would love to be able to do something where they can build a whole customized push notification system for their self-hosted server, or even for just a few printers. Some of our users just really love the automation and things like that. So definitely excited to see what kind of projects people come up with once we're able to do that open sourcing with the mobile app.
Yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of like customizing their own like Obico server for their own print farms, that's another thing we did this time. So basically, we kind of like restructure the architecture of the Obico server so that now the front end, I'm talking about web app front end, is in its like separate folder, or actually a separate like hierarchy. So what that means is that you can either go into that hierarchy and like customize a heck out of it, like your own logo, your own color, like whatever, or you can even just throw that away and rebuild your own front end, like the basically how Obico should look like, the web app should look like. You can make it look like I don't know, Fluid or Mancell if you want. Like that's technically possible. So
yeah,
I hope that some of the go ahead.
I think that'll be really cool, especially for the. I know we don't have a ton of the users, but some of the users that have a more of the business print farm, or even just ones that like the customization, but to be able to do whatever they want and put their own logo or different things like that, and then even be able to share their prints with their friends or even their customers, and showing their prints going on what looks to be almost their own platform that they put the front end on.
Yeah. So we actually have heard that from a few farms before, but we're like, we really don't have time to customize it for you. Guess what? Now you can customize yourself.
Right. Yep. The power of the open source community for sure.
Exactly.
Great. Let me see if I can pick any other popular questions here that make sense to go into. I know we've had some users popping in and out, but no one asked any questions yet. So,
or we can just call it this time, and next time we can probably like give people a little bit more heads up, and we can. It's not like it's going to be the last time we're doing this.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds pretty good. And yeah, with only the 2 hours advance, not even just to get a few users was not too bad. We can definitely plan to do this again with a little bit more planning and outreach to some of the other users that might be interested.
Cool. All right. I guess to the people who have joined us, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much. We will see you guys soon.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.